Today we're going to talk about Donald Trump. And President Trump is very much a developer. The one thing that I can tell you, having come from the background of land development myself, is that often you find yourself, in fact almost always you find yourself in the position of being scorned or hated simply for trying to do your job. It comes with the territory. Land developer, people are unhappy. There is an expression, I got mine, so F you. NIMBY, not in my backyard. People who adjoin property that they don't own want to control what happens with that property. It's understandable that no one wants to move into a home and then have, a pig farm or whatever next door that wasn't there before. But they don't control that property. The property owner controls that property. And land developers always run into a situation where they are trying to develop a piece of land and the neighbors are unhappy with what the plans are for that development. A land developer is unique in that the product that the land developer is going to sell cannot be relocated because that product is land. So, President Trump, who, full disclosure, I have been on the opposite side of the table from. And he's a really bright guy. But President Trump is right at home being attacked. And when I say right at home being attacked, it is out of personal experience that I make that statement. I remember a project that I did in Fox Ridge, Maryland. It was over 500 homes. And we had promised, it was before my time, but we had promised the community center would be built by such and such a date. And I knew that date was upcoming. It was undeniable. And I knew that there was no way that this date was going to be met, because we didn't have a Corps of Engineers permit to build the sewer system for the community center. It just couldn't be done without it. So, what do you do in that situation? Well, I wrote a letter to every homeowner that I knew would piss them off. And mailed it out and said, hey, your community center is not going to be built by such and such a date. We're going to have a meeting on next Tuesday, whatever. And if you would like to come, we would be more than glad to talk to you about it. It was a letter that was most certainly going to piss everyone off on an issue that was already contentious. And a lot of people showed up for this meeting. Now, it was important that, from my perspective, it was important that I go to this meeting alone. Because if there were 3 or 4 people with me, the meeting would start with all of the community being angry at the group of us. And even if I were able to convince them not to be so angry, they would still be angry at the other people there. They would still be angry at Aoki. That was the name of the company, Aoki Corporation. And that was not an outcome that I felt was something that we could live with. I wanted them ultimately to be on my side and to help me effect a resolution that was going to get them their community center. So I went out there and stood in front of everybody by myself and let them yell at me for as long as they wanted to. And it was interesting. There was one lady who was giving me grief, and she said, you're going to go home and live in your $500,000 mansion, but when you leave, we're stuck here. And I replied, I said, ma'am, I am a regular guy. I actually live in a townhouse, a row house in Baltimore City, which is worth half as much as these homes. I am not wealthy. I do not go home every night to a mansion. Your best opportunity to effect a resolution that is satisfying to you is with someone like me fighting for what you want, because that's what I want. And just if you would hear me out, that's what we'll do. And another man spoke up and he said, let the man speak. And it was at that moment that I knew it was time to share what I felt would be an opportunity for resolution and to make them whole as best I could. And that's what we did. My point in sharing that story is that Donald Trump has, I'm absolutely positive, faced the ire of many people before and thrived in it, in his businesses. It is not something that he shies away from, and that's why. He comes from a background where being in adversarial relationships is the norm. It's something he's comfortable with. Cooperative relationships, maybe not so much, but adversarial relationships, quite a bit. Anyway, if that lends some insight into why President Trump seems to thrive in these adversarial situations, that's why I did this video. Have a great night. See you soon.